So we all know when people move into their homes, especially in Florida, we're limited for storage space. So what we do is we come in and help create storage space by maximizing what is currently available in their kitchens and their closets and other rooms. So a few of the things that we really pride ourselves on is communication with the customer, and our attention to detail is second to none. If you're looking to transform your kitchen, closet, or any other space in your home, give us a call or check out our website to book an appointment.
Well, hello everyone, it's Don once again, and this is Gold Wingnut Live. Our sponsor for this show is Kitchen Wise and Closet Wise, so if you're looking to customize either your kitchen cabinets or your closet cabinet, or closet cabinets, your closets, I would highly recommend them. They've done my house, and I'm really pleased with the results that they've provided. Wow. Got a couple of questions already up on the board, so we'll go ahead and hit those real quick. First off, I wanted to tell everyone that the fundraiser that was scheduled for tomorrow has been canceled. I didn't feel it appropriate to be partying when so many are in such dire straits right now. If you're not familiar with what's happened at the southern end of the county, it's in pretty bad shape. They took a big beating. There's about half the lower section of the county is without power. Lots of fallen trees, and it just didn't feel the right time for such festivities, in my opinion. Keep the residents that are in Sumter County that are under distress in your prayers, as well as the rest of those throughout the state who are. There has been so much devastation; it's been devastating. It is hard to imagine. They just went through Helene 2 weeks ago, and now this. This is it's devastating. Anyway, let's hit some of the questions. This is from Tony GR11. Hi, Don. There is a Sumter County organic waste landfill off Moyer Loop. There is a strong sewage smell due to the rising level of the landfill. Can we bring this to Sumter County Commission to mitigate? All right. Oops, sorry, I'm being pestered here by my puppies. So that is a privately owned landfill. They have a permit that's good for another, I think, 9 years. It is unfortunate, but when it's construction debris, it is not sewage. And unfortunately, when this stuff gets really wet, like has happened because of all the rain, it is going to create a smell. There is really nothing the county commission can do about it. If they are within the purview of their permit, which they have been for 20 plus years, I think it is, then it's just an unfortunate side effect of having a landfill. Lily, what do you want, baby girl? If you look over my shoulder, right this side, I'll get it right there. That's Sully. He's sniffing around. Who knows? Lily is over here on my other side. Anyway, there's nothing the county commission can do about it. We addressed this a year or so ago with some of the folks in Lake County, and now there's really not a whole lot that can be done. Let's see. Muskie is in the Trump golf cart rally today. Don't drive and watch this. I don't want anybody to get into a wreck trying to listen to me. Let's see. Hi, Rich. Warminster, PA. I have no idea where that is in Pennsylvania. I used to live, my grandmother had a house in Stroudsburg, and that area we went up there all the time. But that's about all I know. I have family in Pittston. And okay, so much for Pennsylvania. That's about all I know about it. Ryan says, our retention pond seriously needs to drain. hasn't drained over a month. The pump is broken, and the hurricane pushed water into our backyard a good 15 feet. So Ryan, I'm not sure where you're at. It seems unusual that the retention pond pumps would be broken. Um, they're very good about maintaining those. So Ryan, let me know which village you're in, where you're at, that you're having this retention pond backup. Let's see. The Luna. Ah, so now I know your problem. The problem is those retention ponds are all tied in with the natural wetlands areas. And so they all run at the same level. There's only so much you can do about it. There's only so much water they can pump at any one time. When you get a natural wetlands area like that, they tend to hold a lot more water. So it takes a lot longer to pump them down. Prime example of another instance of that is over here near where I live. In the village, I live in Hillsborough. The village, next village to our west is Collier, and that's where Magnolia, Sweet Gum, and Palmetto, and part of Evans Prairie Golf Course are at. All the retention ponds there are tied to the Evans Prairie. Evans Prairie is a fancy name here in Florida, just like Everglades for swamp. Okay, it's a big wetlands area, and it's a natural wetlands area, and there is no natural drainage. So the only way they can drain it is to pump it. Because it is so large and it holds so much water, it is going to take weeks to pump that down. I don't expect to see Magnolia Golf Course open probably for at least a month, month and a half. If Irma is any indication, it took quite a while to get it down. Similarly, over in Hillsborough, the sections of the Evans Prairie Golf Course are way backed up, and the whole course is underwater because of all the rain. Let's see. Yeah, this whole water system, even though the water may look like it's really high, remember that the natural level for those ponds is anywhere from 4 to 6 feet below the rest of the surrounding area. Then the street drains are tied into there. The street drains are easily a foot lower than your foundation. And so it's going to back up into the streets. That happened over in over here in Hillsborough during Irma. It backed up into the street, and it took about a week for the water level to go back down as they continue to pump it. One of the other things you'll notice is the retention ponds. I've been looking at them for the last week as this has been happening, because the ponds are very full. They're just limited on how much water they can pump at any one time. There's a limited pumping capacity. There's always a low side, okay? The houses are on the high side, and there's normally a low side or some other place where the water can spill out. My house over in Moultrie Creek had a huge retention pond behind it. The water level came up quite a bit after the storm. It's coming back down, but on the side where my house is, it was about 2 feet below the flatlands where my property started. On the other side, where the road is, on the other side of the retention pond, it was about 6 inches away from overflowing. So it would have overflowed into the street, and it would have been a long time before it got to any of the houses in Moultrie Creek. Let's see. The entire pump box has been underwater quite some time. Okay, I'm wondering. So those pumps that you're looking at, I think, are the lift stations. The lift stations are designed to operate underwater, but the pump that moves the water for moving them around and moving them for the sprinkler system, that's normally someplace along the side of the road. It's a small building, and I seem to recall that one over in DeLuna is on the turnpike side. I think there's two of them over in DeLuna, the two pumping stations. Anyway, let's see. What else do we got here? Ryan, I'll get to your next comment in just a second. My screen is getting screwed up here. Saw your drone video. It looks like a lot of progress for the Eastport Hotel. Do they have an estimate time for grand opening? Now, I haven't heard anything published on grand opening for it yet. I was over there right after the hurricane blew through. And I got the water level in the lake is really, really high. That'll be out in the next video. But they've already started working on the deck for the third floor. So it's moving along quickly. If I had to guess, I would say sometime mid-spring, we'll see it open. Let's see, Ryan says, a village worker came out the day before the storm and said the berm between the marshland and the retention pond is 1.5 feet below our little hill, yet the berm is underwater. Yep. Again, this area is designed to be managed for a 100-year storm. And we did get a lot of water, but the system is working. Your home's not getting wet, Ryan, so you're in good shape. That's all I can say. The system does work. It works very effectively. They proved it worked very well for Irma. Irma, they considered a 150-year storm, which means that once in 150 years, you get a storm of that magnitude. And the system still had reserve capacity, even though many of the ponds were very, very full. The golf courses are designed to flood first. Many of the open areas are designed to flood first. Joe says, thanks for the great job on my roof inspection. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate your business. What Joe is talking about is I do, after a storm like this, I put the drone up and I do roof inspections looking for any kind of roof damage. Some of it is not visible. Some of it is very visible, obviously, and we did get a lot of roof damage here in this storm. But I'm not an insurance inspector. The purpose of mine is peace of mind, and to give you a heads up, then maybe you do need to call your insurance company. When we saw a couple of houses, I think we did 42 houses over a 2-day period. And I think we saw 2, maybe 3 houses with a little bit of damage. There were many houses here in the villages that got a lot of damage from the storm. I hadn't seen this much damage ever. Irma didn't have this much damage, but the winds were higher in this storm than they were during Irma. Irma just dumped a tremendous amount of water. Let's see. Amanda says the big trucks that use 470 through Eastport and Middleton drive way too fast. What are your thoughts on this? Any idea for a bypass for this traffic? So I know that Wildwood PD, who is responsible for that road, is stepped up their policing. They're patrolling the area. I would say every other time I drive down 470 or Central Parkway, whatever you want to call it, there's a Wildwood PD vehicle there. And I would say 1 in 3 times they've got somebody pulled over. They are cracking down really hard. As far as a bypass, No, there's not going to be a bypass. In fact, the road that's the old 470, right there just on the north side of the fire station, my understanding is that is scheduled to be closed, and all the traffic will go through on Central Parkway through the traffic circles. The traffic circles do a good job on slowing the trucks down. So, Wildwood PD is your best bet. If you're still concerned, go to the Wildwood City Council meetings and tell them that you want better coverage because of the speeding vehicles. Yeah, I've done a lot of looking around, shot a lot of video in the last couple of days in the process of doing houses, and lots and lots of water. The championship course is, what's the new one? Shallow Creek. It ain't so shallow anymore, folks. It's pretty deep. I will have some video footage out for that in the next couple of days. We had those nice wide fairways and the nice thin retention ponds. Now they have nice thin retention ponds and nice thin fairways and nice wide retention ponds. It is a tremendous amount of water. Same thing over at Evans Prairie, at Bonifay, at Belglade. I haven't looked at the courses north of 466A, but it is it's a tremendous amount of water, and it's going to take a long time to get it pumped down. That has a huge impact on the championship courses. This happened with Irma. The championship courses were closed down for a couple of months because of the amount of water they had to get rid of. The water is moved from all over the zone that it's in to allow the pumping to be used to disperse the water on the golf courses. And unfortunately, it also made the grass very weak. It got too much water, so the turf was very weak. They had to spend a lot of time letting the grass regain its root strength before they could open the course. Cost the course a lot of money, a lot of lost revenue, and there was the bill. Let me put it this way: the bill for using the course to disperse the water that went to the community development districts was zero. They asked nothing for that. They never have. It's just part of their business risk, but they lost a lot of money during that. Patty says, hello, Don. Have you ever seen the Boardwalk by Lake Sumpter flooded before? No, I haven't. That lake has limited ability to drain, just like Evans Prairie has limited ability to drain. There's no natural outflow. So it has to be pumped out, and that lake also can leach into the ground, into the water table, but even that process is very slow. The water level is high. This was a problem, for a long time. They do their best to get it pumped down, but you can only do so much. You only have so much capacity. Victoria, thank you so much for your contribution. As always, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for your kind comments. I try and give people good information. Let's see. I'm just trying to go through my list here. It's very short this time. I had a great question from Mark. Mark is normally on here. Where is Mark's question? Because it directly relates to what we're talking about. So Mark lives down in Moultrie Creek. Excuse me. Okay, hang on. Gotta have coffee. All right. Is hurricane damage repair paid for by the CDDs? Would this be some sort of special maintenance fee or assessment? Based on your experience with past storm damage, what do you think the Milton hurricane repairs could cost residents? Okay, so yes, it is covered by your maintenance assessment. There's not going to be a special assessment. They have repair and replacement funds, which are basically reserves for major incidents like this, hence repair and replacement. They also have what's called working capital. Working capital normally is about 3 to 4 months of operating expense. And that's what's going to be used initially. If you've read any of the online websites, they are applying for FEMA money to help cover some of these costs. They did this during Irma. Didn't have a great amount of success, but we did have some success in getting some of those funds back. Excuse me. As far as a special assessment, no, I don't see it. Sure, it's a lot of money, but one of the things that we have to our advantage is our size. The ability to have a nice large contract. We have contractors, I think there's 3 of them that are on call for this kind of work, disaster cleanup, that we can call in. Now, during Irma, some of them ducked out and they went south where the money was better. There's been some contract law in place now or contracting in place now that kind of holds their feet to the fire. But because we are so big, it attracts it makes for a very attractive rate, and it makes for a lower overall cost. We were fortunate. We had a lot of trees that were knocked down. Sadly, some of the old stately oaks that are here in the villages, the water soaked the ground so much that the root system couldn't support, and they toppled over under the pressure of the wind. Didn't see a lot of broken trees, but knocked over trees because of the saturated ground and weakening the root structure and causing them to fall over. I know down at Station 48, they had a palm tree which was newly planted. We expect those to fall. But there was also a large oak on both sides of Marsh Bend Trail that fell. The one on the fire station side has been cut up. I don't know if it's been hauled away yet, but as of yesterday, it was already cut up. Let's see. Wow, sorry. The brain is spinning out of control. What time is it? Okay, we're still good on time. So Joe says, since Monday is canceled, what is the backup plan to take care of the firefighters for Thanksgiving if you can't reschedule? So the fundraiser was actually an add to what we normally do. Normally, what we do is we have a station coordinator for each fire station. Right now I have 4. I'm looking for 6 more station coordinators throughout the villages to be the ones who coordinate the food for the fire stations local to them. I know 47 and 48 are taken care of. I don't remember which other 2. I got to go look at my notes. But anyway, the coordinators then reach out to their neighborhood, any community groups looking for food donations. And we get a lot of really good food donations. I'll talk about that in a minute because it's really nice. But a lot of people also donate cash. I think last year we donated $3,600 or $4,000 to their relief fund. And that was after buying sodas and plastic containers and some other stuff that we need. So just be on the lookout. If you want to help out Joe, with being a station coordinator or maybe a driver, because we need a coordinator. We need people to help deliver the food, to help the station coordinator. We'll be having, in about 2 weeks, we'll have a station coordinator meeting to work through some of the details on that. The goal of this was to raise more money for their relief fund. Even if we have a year like we did last year, $3,600, $4,000, whatever it was, I don't remember off the top of my head, that's still a great donation, and it helps the firefighters for, when they have somebody who's a sick child or a sick spouse, somebody who needs some help because they're seeing through hard times. Let's see. So Tammy says, got my first bill from the villages and was surprised to see my amenity fee was $214.50. So, yep, William Russo said that bill might be prorated. Could be. I was surprised it wasn't $195. So right now the prevailing rate is $195. I expect that to go up in January. That does not mean that's what your rate is going to go up to, but that first bill is always kind of a shocker. When I closed on my house down in Moultrie Creek, it was very early in the month, and that was a big slam. That hurt, that first bill, because it was 2 months worth of amenity fees and 2 months worth of trash pickup and 2 months worth of water, and it's like, ow. But we got through it. But yeah, expect it to go back down. Let's see. Oh yeah, let's talk about the prevailing rate. So the prevailing rate is the rate you're going to pay if you buy a house during the year. Okay, so right now the prevailing rate is $195. So you buy a house, whether it's brand new or pre-owned, that's the amenity fee you're going to pay. Now, at some point, there is going to be an increase during the year, and it's normally the month that the house went to contract. So you may buy a house in September, and it's at $195, and then it just so happens that the house went to contract in November, maybe 20 years ago, and you see a CPI adjustment in November, and that's going to be the last one you see for another year, and that's just the way it works. Everybody paying the same amenity fee. There's tons of arguments. The problem is you'll never to make a change to the way we're doing the amenity fee would require a public vote and a public agreement of doing it a majority vote. And honestly, that won't happen, because it means that somebody's rates are going to go up. Anybody who figures their rates are going to go up, they're going to vote no. Anybody who thinks their rates are going to go down, they're going to vote yes. So you end up going to be in, there's no way it's going to ever win. Surprised. Let's see. Yeah, but anyway, sorry. I'm trying to catch up with what's coming on the right side of my screen over here with the comments everybody's posting. Yeah, when you look at what we're getting for our amenity fees, I think we're getting a pretty good deal. I know there's people that say, well, I don't play golf or I don't play pickleball, I shouldn't have to pay for it. If you were to have to pay for things piecemeal, you'd have people complaining about that. This is part of what makes the community what it is. Okay, to have all these amenities. Yes, not everybody uses all the amenities. I don't play pickleball. I've tried a couple of times. The ball got the best of me. I'll leave it at that. You may use something that somebody else doesn't. So it's give and take. Let's see. Don, this is from Muskie Don. I am so surprised to hear that the southern part of Sumpter is still flooded and no power. what can we do as citizens to volunteer to help? I would reach out to the Red Cross, and there's a couple other relief agencies here in Sumter County. Reach out to them and talk to them where they need assistance. Let's see. Tammy says, we will be driving down 1 week from today, hopefully there by October 22nd. Congratulations, Tammy. I think you're going to love it here. It's great. Just in time for Halloween, William says. Yeah. Honestly, I'm curious about Halloween this year. Occasionally, folks in our neighborhood will have their grandchildren here, and we'll have candy for the grandkids. We might get half a dozen kids in our neighborhood. Pretty typical of the villages. I'm probably going to spend the Halloween evening, over at my Moultrie Creek house. And hopefully we'll see kids from Middleton come over and look to clean house on candy here in the villages, and more power to them. I've been there a couple of times seeing kids go by. It's kind of nice. You don't realize how much you miss seeing young people and hearing the laughter and the young voices. But it is a treat. But I still love living in the village. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Just the Halloween, Tammy says, I will be busy buying furniture. Ha ha ha. It's been my birthday. And it's my birthday on October 22nd. Well, happy birthday, Tammy. What are you going to be, 30, 31? We'll spot you that one. So Mark and Julia are listening from the Trump parade. We'll let them know. Oh, that must be Julia. I can tell by the picture. Yeah, I read Mark's question and tried to answer it. Let's see. Tammy says, my house is in Moultrie Creek. Can't wait to see it. Bought it over the phone. I'd like to say, oops, but that's pretty common around here. I know quite a few people who have bought sight unseen, just on photographs. I frequently will get calls from people who are looking at spec homes, wanting pictures of the spec home and the surrounding area. I do that as a service. It's like $25-30. And it's something I enjoy doing because helping people find a place to live. This is a beautiful community. Whew. Let's take a 30-second break.
So we all know when people move into their homes, especially in Florida, we're limited for storage space. So what we do is we come in and help create storage space by maximizing what is currently available in their kitchens and their closets and other rooms. So a few of the things that we really pride ourselves on is communication with the customer, and our attention to detail is second to none. If you're looking to transform your kitchen, closet, or any other space in your home, give us a call or check out our website to book an appointment.
All right, I'm back. What you didn't see was me standing up and stretching because this gaming chair is no longer as comfortable as it used to be. I'm gonna have to buy a new chair. It's either that or get a nice big cushion to put under my rear end. But anyway, so let's get back to some of our questions, some of the other stuff going on. We talked about the hurricane, the aftermath. We talked about Mark's question. Let's talk about landowner elections. So CDs 13, 14, 15, and most of the people on this are villages, not Middleton residents. But there is going to be a selection for candidates for the landowner elections at the Everglades Recreation Center. And it is on October 18th, which is, anybody know what day of the week October 18th is? Let's see. Today's the 13th, so the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. Next Friday. Next Friday at 9 o'clock. If you're interested in being a CDD supervisor, I highly recommend you go in and put your name in the hat. That's the only way you can do it for another 2 years. the CDD supervisors have an important job. They make the decisions on the budget. They make the decisions on policy, it doesn't pay a lot. I think it's $200 a meeting, and there's normally 12 meetings scheduled for the year. So you're going to make a whole $2,400. You're not doing it for the money though. So what a landowner election is it will be held the same day, I believe, as the regular election. It's in a different location. There is one vote for each piece of property. The landowner can be one person, could be two people, could be five people. Whoever the landowners are, they still only get one vote. Unlike the qualified electorate vote, which after 5 or 6 years, then they become qualified electorate instead of landowner elected, where everybody who's a registered voter gets a vote. This is how this is one of the best ways to get involved. And I highly recommend, if you're interested, go to it. If you want more information, feel free to give me a call after the show, and I'll be more than happy to discuss it. It's not a difficult job, but I will tell you this: if you think that you're going to go in because you're upset about the increases that happened with the maintenance assessment this past year, and you think you're going to go in and you're going to cut costs and do all this other stuff, you're going to spend your first couple of weeks getting an education on the realities of what the budgets are, what the responsibilities are, what the district supervisors can and cannot do. And if you pay attention, you will probably come out going, maybe I got a little carried away in my ideas. We have district supervisors have a responsibility to maintain the community. You want to cut costs? Well, then something's got to give on maintenance. Anyway, so again, October 18th, 9 o'clock, Everglades. That's for districts 13, 14, and 15. And I think it's at 11 o'clock on the same day for Middleton A, which is the residential section. And you have to be a landowner in that that area to be considered. Whew. All right, let's move on. Let's see, what do we got here? Awesome birthday, go. Let's see. So, boom, boom. My house is in Moultrie Creek, bought her over the phone. We talked about that one already. Happy birthday. Let's see. Patrick S. says, have you done any videos on property tax portability? Hope to relocate within Florida and don't really know how it works. Been in current home 18 years. Thanks for the great content. Patrick, you've been in your home 18 years? You are sitting pretty, probably. So what Patrick is asking about is the portability. 30 years ago, thereabouts, they instituted the Save Our Homes Act. And the Save Our Homes Act said your property tax can only go up if you're a resident, or if you are homesteaded there, it can only go up 3% a year. So that means, let's say your home value went from 100 to 150,000 in 1 year. Okay. Well, your property tax can't be based on the 150,000 now. It can be based on the previous property tax value plus 3%. Okay. And if it happens again, it's only 3% the next year. So eventually what happens is you get this great big delta between what the taxable value of your house is and what you're actually paying on it. Okay. And they realized that was important, because if you you wanted to move to a bigger house. Let's say you had some more kids. You want to go from a 3-bedroom to a 5-bedroom house. But you can't afford to move there because you've got all this tax savings. And the tax savings is saving you a lot on your annual property tax. You can now take that with you, that tax savings. So let's say your house is worth $500,000. You're paying tax on $300,000. You've got a $200,000 difference. You move to a new area. Let's say you buy a $600,000 house. Okay, you take that $200,000 worth of savings with you, and now your taxable value is only $400,000. It's a huge savings. It can, with you being there 18 years, you've probably got a lot of savings in there. Take a look at your trim notice. It should have it. There are time limits. Talk to the property appraiser in the county you're in and get some more details. But this is a very good thing. I have probably the second most expensive house in my neighborhood. Just because when I bought it, it was the second most expensive house, and I put in a swimming pool. But anyway, my property taxes, though, are not the highest in my neighborhood. Those that aren't full-time residents, they get a 10% cap instead of a 3% cap. Actually, I believe the state legislature this past year changed it now to a 2% increase. But because of when I moved from Haines City to here, I brought some of that savings with me. That helped on my property tax values. So it's a good thing. You definitely, but I have not done a video on it. I guess I probably could. Probably best if I get with Joy Hooten, who is the property appraiser, and Randy Mask, who is the tax collector. Maybe an interview with them. Let me think about that one. Show us the stretching technique. No. I am not showing you my stretching technique. We will be voting in Monroe County. Monroe County. I think that's up north, right? So Todd and Cecile said, "Hi Don, how did you potty Lily and Sully during the hurricane? Also, is the common fencing between the villas if the common fencing between villas was damaged by wind, who is responsible for the repairs?" So on the second part, both parties are responsible. It's clearly defined in your deed restrictions who is responsible for it. That's the best place to look. As far as Lily and Sully, Lily pretty much stayed in. She said I didn't want to have anything to do with the weather. Sully, on the other hand, we have dog doors. One goes from our pool deck out to the yard. The other goes from our master bedroom into the pool deck. Sully was frequently damp. No, Sully was frequently wet. He went outside during the rain. He didn't care. He didn't stay outside long. He did his business and came right back in. But I looked out the window, and he was like right close to the door. He wasn't going very far. Diz Villager says, "I just tuned in. Did you talk about the response the POA put out regarding you?" No, I didn't talk about it. No, I really don't care what the POA thinks about me. They think they had some big thing because businesses supported me in this community. Why? Because I understand that our businesses are just as much a part of our community as our residents, and you can't treat one differently than the other. They both have to be treated equally fair. Otherwise, if we lose our businesses, our residential community goes down the tubes. If we lose our residential community, our businesses go down the tubes. It's either we all win or we all lose together. And the businesses recognize that. They recognize that some of the other candidates, let's just say they have a vendetta against the villages. I got news for you. The villages, the developer, and all the contractors they hire, and the thousands of people that are employed are critical to the life of this community, and trying to throw an unnecessary burden on them does not help the situation at all. I will say I read Cliff's response. Once again, facts were twisted. All you got to do is listen to what was said, and it was very obvious that the information was incorrect, and if it was put out by an individual who supposedly held public office before. If you hold public office, something as critical as voting, you ought to know about. And there was misinformation put out, and I believe it was intentional. Bill says, Don, having a new designer home built in Wellpoint, our design meeting is set up for the first week in November. Being told we will probably close by the end of February, beginning of March. Sounds about right. 3 to 3. Well, let's see. It's only about a 3-month build cycle, plus a month to get materials and stuff on board. Yeah, that sounds about right. Beginning of March. I've been in the Keys, my home, for 31 years now. Okay, so William's been in the Monroe County. That's right. That's not the Panhandle. That's down there in the Florida Keys. But 31 years, that's a long time. Should I schedule a new home inspection now, even though the house hasn't been started? Bill, I wouldn't schedule it now. Wait till you're getting closer to your close. You definitely want to have it within that first week of close. Get a professional looking at it, and it's in your best interest to make sure everything looks good. Let's see. Diz Villager says, I heard something about sewage emptying into a lake. Is this a village's issue? Do you know about it? I have not heard about any villages' sewage plants emptying into any lakes. I'm thinking of, there's 3 different sewage plants that I know of, and none of them empty into a lake. They have their own overflow facilities. The Gibson wastewater treatment facility over behind Fire Station 49 off Central Parkway. That has a massive rapid infill basin that runs along Old 470. The one up by, what station is that? Station 51, is it? I think it's Odell, and there's an old school building at one of the traffic circles that's on display as you go up north on Buena Vista. If you continue north on Buena Vista, just before you get to, or in the area on the left-hand side, on the west side, where as you get closer towards Lake Meona Recreation Center, that's the overflow facility for that. And I remember looking for the one up at the north end. I don't remember where it's at, but again, none of them spill over in the lake. I don't believe it's a village's issue. Yep, Monroe is in the Keys, that's right. Who is the writing candidate you suggested? That would be, I'll get it out in a second. Pat Francis is who I would recommend. That's the best I can recommend. Ms. Butterfield is the editor of the POA's newspaper, and I hold her personally responsible as the editor for the information that was put out, and a lot of it was, in my opinion, twisted, biased. It was false. Let's see. City of Wildwood had a 20,000 gallon sewage spill. Um, I did hear about Wildwood having a sewage spill. Um, I I don't know where their sewage plant dumps to. Unfortunately, uh, not something I have been directly involved with. But that really doesn't impact the villages. That new sewage plant that they need to build, it's not because of the villages. It's because of the other growth in the city of Wildwood. All the city of Wildwood growth for the villages is all going to Gibson, the one over there by Station 49. Ooh, all right. Where are we at? We are at 15:50. Okay, time is quickly going by. Any other questions? Come on, you guys. We got 115 people on. Nobody's got a question. Okay. Let's see. What else? I really don't have a whole lot to talk about. It's been a very busy week for me. Again, we've been, with the storm, obviously trying to make sure I had two houses that were properly prepared. Was a little more challenged than I had considered, but taken care of. Didn't have any damage. Well, I had some damage at the new house. The fence was pretty banged up on both sides, and it looks like I get a new gate for my the fence going into the backyard, because the one that the builder built is pretty much falling apart. It's the PVC fence. It's not the strongest in the world. Where I live here in the village of Hillsborough, my fence, only two small sections are PVC. All the rest of it is the concrete block fence. Because I live on the corner of Hillsborough Trail and Buena Vista. So I got a big, huge wall. It's great. I get the view of all the beautiful trees and plants that they planted over the wall without having to take care of them. Although I do get to pick up after them in the storm. Let's see. Joe says, where are good places to buy furniture for a new home around the villages? So we have shopped several times at Babette's. There's a store in Brownwood for Babette's. Babette's also has a furniture store on 441 in Leesburg. And I think there's actually 2 or 3 buildings over there for Babette's. And there's several other furniture stores nearby. That is an area that I would go look over there. A lot of people use city furniture. I will be honest with you. The furniture is beautiful, but I have heard some horror stories about their customer service and their warranty support. It's just it's not someplace that I was willing to shop after hearing the nightmare stories. If it had been 1 or 2 person, but it's been 30, 40 people I've heard have similar issues. I've heard good stuff too, but when this much garbage rises to the surface, there's usually some fact behind it. Let's see. John Alexander said, what resource would you suggest using to plan a path to Florida residency? The Florida residency. I know you get your driver's license, you register to vote, you're pretty much a Florida resident. I'm trying to think. I would call Randy Mask's office. That's the tax collector. I would call their office and ask the question. They would be a good resource. That would be where I would start. VS says, purchased a home site to build in Shady Brook. So curious if you one of my new neighbors. So I am not moving to Moultrie Creek. I have to live in my district. My wife may be moving to Moultrie Creek, and I'll be moving into an apartment. It's just unnecessary evil for the service that I have volunteered to do and the people have elected me to do. It's not the first time my wife and I have been apart. We were married 2 weeks, and I went out to sea for 3 months. So we spent the first 20 years more apart than together. And if we're apart now, then I just don't have to listen to her snore. And if she's listening to me, oh, good, she's doing the dishes, so she didn't hear me say that. Joe says, my wife is not a City or Whites fan, have had issues in the past. Yeah, there you go. Joe, I would agree. Whites, I haven't heard anything bad about, but City Furniture, yeah, I have heard some horror stories. So Daniel wants to know, are EV chargers available throughout the villages? No, there are no EV charging stations in the villages that I am aware of. They're expensive to put in. Who's going to pay for them? There's not, well, there is a lot of electric vehicles, tremendous amount of Teslas around here. I know that there are many stores that have electric charging stations. I know the Wildwood down in Bushnell, they got several electric vehicle charging stations. On the Turnpike, there's electric vehicle charging stations, but I'm not aware of any immediately in the villages area. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't really looked. Okay, an electric vehicle really doesn't interest me. When you run out of juice, it's hard for somebody to bring you a gallon of battery juice along the side of the road to get you going again. At least with gasoline engine, you can get going again. Let's see. Well, thank you, VS. I appreciate that. We should make a call to Elon. Hey, go for it. One of the things that people don't consider, there's a big push to go to the electric vehicles or power. That's a tremendous amount of energy that we're looking at. When you start looking at everybody in your neighborhood charging their electric car, while you have 200 or 250 amp service in a typical house, it's never anticipated that every house on the street is going to be running at 200 amps or even close to that. The power grid's just not sized for it yet. It's going to take a long time to increase the power grid. Let's see. Let's see, what is this? VS says Tesla will put in charging stations in many cases on their dime if negotiated. I have negotiated this numerous sites for my company. Okay. And this villager says Kohl's has charging ports. Okay, I didn't know Kohl's had that. I guess I should have asked my wife on Kohl's. I don't go to Kohl's. When she goes to Kohl's, I go to Best Buy. I'll leave it at that. All right, so we are coming up on the hour. Let's see, we still got 118 viewers. Well, that's great. I'm glad to have you all here. It's been a challenging week. I didn't get a lot of message traffic like I normally get, but if you have questions for the next show, good point there, Diz. Diz Villager says Costco may put some in. I would highly suspect that they would. And Jim O says, hey, Don, does Moultrie Creek pay Wildwood taxes? You betcha. Hours. You betcha they do. If you're in the villages and you are south of 44, you are going to pay Wildwood city taxes. That's just the nature of it. That's what they did. Let's see. We got another one here, RMO 214. Hi, Don. With your knowledge of new commercial businesses, do you know what is being built A, the large lot behind emergency building on 466A? Okay. And between Golden Corral and KFC on 466 and Lake Eaton Plaza. So Golden Corral, KFC, I believe that is a Fifth Third Bank. Behind the emergency building, I didn't know they'd started work on that. I believe that's where they're looking at putting a new hospital, but I'm not sure. I didn't know that they'd started any work over there behind the emergency department on 466A. And Lake Eaton Plaza, I drove by there. I saw they have started work on a new building. The building that's under construction closest to Walgreens is the Fifth Third Bank. And the one that they're building now, that they just started on, it's either KFC, or excuse me, not KFC, Dunkin' Donuts or Hooters. I just saw the plans pop up for Hooters, but I could not figure out which lot they were in looking at it. So it's one of the two. And Holly says, any news on what grocery chain will be coming to either Middleton or Eastport area? No, the developer is very tight-lipped, and my sources aren't saying much. I have heard one source, they said Publix is coming to one of them, but I have not been able to confirm that. I want to talk to the individual myself, but at this point, it's, your barber's cousin's ex-girlfriend's brother-in-law, so who knows? But yeah, there was an announcement about a provisions store opening up in Moultrie Creek, not Moultrie Creek, what am I saying? Middleton. But that is a small place, about the size of a typical sandwich shop. It's on the main drag there. It's sandwiched between buildings. So it's just a small place. It's not a grocery store. Unschool says we lost power for 24 hours during Milton. Would you recommend having an electrician install a switch on the panel for a generator? No. I honestly, I wouldn't. I have a 5 kW generator, 5,000 watt generator in my garage. I also have a 1,000 watt generator in my garage. When I lose power, the 1,000 comes out first to hook up to the freezer and the refrigerator, and that's all I care about. And if it goes more than a couple of hours, then I'll bring out the 5 kW generator, and I'll fire it up, and some power strips and extension cords. It's not worth the expense to put in a house generator in that, in my opinion. We don't lose power that often, and when we do, it's generally very rare. One of the big differences between the Villages area and down south in the county is almost all of our utilities are buried. Okay. When we lose power, it's because the transformer takes a hit on the ground or gets flooded, but they're usually pretty quick on getting those up. Down in the southern end of the county, they have lots of power lines. Let's see. What a hoot to have Hooters. Yeah. Okay. When I was younger, I used to go to Hooters for obvious reasons. I quickly learned to like their chicken wings, and most of the time what I really looked forward to, though, was dessert, and that was their key lime pie. They have a phenomenal key lime pie. So I'm looking forward to Hooters. I like their chicken wings. Okay, I'm a guy. The scenery's not bad most of the time either. So forgive me for being human. Let's see. RMO says, thank you for your quick response to my class question. Just wondering, with the flooding of Lake Sumpter, how do they lower the water levels in the lake? Is it through underground piping system? So they have 2 pumps that are used. They were just replaced a couple of years ago through the project-wide fund. Very big, very expensive pumps. They will pump those to some of the lakes in that area, and then those lakes are pumped to the sprinkler system to pump it down. It is, it's a multi-step process, but they will be running sprinklers for a long time to try to get rid of this water. Lisa said, any word on Trader Joe's? Lisa, are you getting a franchise for Trader Joe's? Please tell us you are. I mean, it's up to Trader Joe's to make the decision to come here. I know that the developers, commercial real estate division, they court a lot of different companies trying to get them here. It is a very difficult market. Very few companies want to ride through the boom and bust cycles that we go through every year. If you live here year round, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In the summertime, you go out to eat and it's wonderful. You can get right in, no problem. And in the wintertime, it's chaos because there's so many people here. Same thing with all the stores. They have to deal with that. Not every store is equipped or willing to indulge those boom and bust cycles. So it's difficult. But it's up to Trader Joe's on who's going to come here. Mara, I'm not gonna try and destroy your name. I apologize. Just tuned in, so sorry if this was already asked. Any word on the new Walmart on 44 being golf cart accessible? Yes, Diz, wings. I love chicken wings. Not going there. Anyway, so I seriously doubt that it will ever be golf cart accessible to Walmart, simply because there's no way to get across. Both those are high-speed roads. They're 45-mile-an-hour roads, so the only way a golf cart's going to get across them is either by bridge or by tunnel. You cannot take a low-speed vehicle on a road that highest speed, and you certainly can't take a golf cart there. So you will have to drive your car. There is no cart paths that even go near it. So, it would be very expensive to build a tunnel. Or a bridge. Either one would be very expensive. And who's going to pay that? Is it going to be Walmart? Probably not. I seriously doubt the developer will, and certainly the community development district are not going to build it. I mean, I certainly don't want my CDD money to go to build a tunnel for commercial business. It would have to be Walmart that picks up the tab on that one for it to be golf cart accessible. William says, when is Portillo's going to start building? I have no idea what Portillo's is. I've heard the name, but I don't know what it is. So I really can't help you on that one. Can you give me any more help on that one, William? All right. So we are at about an hour and 10 minutes. I think this has been a good chat for the day. Please send me your questions live at goldwingnut.com, or you can put comments in this video's posting, and I generally try and hit those the following week. We'll hope to have a new video out next weekend. as always, I wish you all the best, all of you. Enjoy life, enjoy what we have. We were very blessed and very fortunate to not be damaged or go through much catastrophe here in the villages because of the storm. Many others were not nearly as fortunate. So I wish them all the best, and I hope they have a speedy recovery. But until next week, thank you all for tuning in. We got some new comments coming in. So we'll take these and then we're going to call it a day. William says, it's a tie-in beef from Chicago going in Lady Lake. Okay. I've heard of it, but I have no idea what's going on with it. Patty says, I think the new or soon-to-be golf cart store in Eastport has the right idea for storing their carts on the roof. Much safer for the carts in the event of a bad storm. No, I don't think it's about, Patty, it's not about the storm. If you go behind Brownwood, the golf cart store in Brownwood, a lot of parking is being taken up by the golf carts. So, that's their rental fleet and some of their inventory. So, they're not going to be doing that in Eastport. The same thing happens up in Lake Sumpter Landing. So it's a balance. It's wasted space, so why not use it? Anyway, as far as a storm, they got insurance, and they'll use it if they need to. So with that, again, I want to thank you all for joining in. We'll do this again next week. Until then, have a blessed day.
So we all know when people move into their homes, especially in Florida, we're limited for storage space. So what we do is we come in and help create storage space by maximizing what is currently available in their kitchens and their closets and other rooms. So a few of the things that we really pride ourselves on is communication with the customer, and our attention to detail is second to none. If you're looking to transform your kitchen, closet, or any other space in your home, give us a call or check out our website to book an appointment.